Welcome to episode 97 of the Games Changers. So I'm today being a cat because Halloween is Friday. So here you go. I am your host, Carla, and tonight I'm bringing the heat with none other than Mike Faiella. His knowledge and insights are sure to elevate our conversation as I dig into the game behind the game. A huge shout out to the incredible TSA team for backing up this mission of amplifying voices and sparking ideas. This platform exists because of visionaries like them and listeners like you. Whether you're here for fantasy football gold or simply love stories that shift perspective, you are in the right place. The Game Changers is more than a podcast, it is a movement. My guest tonight is Mike Faiella. 5 years ago, Mike entered the fantasy football world with a bang, winning a contest to join the legendary Scottish Bowl and dropping a trash talking video after his first win that made waves across the community. But that was just the beginning. Since then, Mike's path has been anything but ordinary. From co hosting a weekly live show with Chase Vernon to writing for Dynasty League Football to producing the Padathon and contributing on SiriusXM, he's worn many hats, but always with one mission in mind: helping others. Whether it's guiding new players through the ins and out of Dynasty of fantasy football or supporting charitable efforts through Fantasy Cares, Mike has built his platform on generosity, knowledge, and connection. In a space that's constantly evolving, his commitment to uplift others has remained the one true constant. Please welcome a voice of insight, impact, and heart. Mike, how are you tonight? And welcome to the
Well,
show.
I don't know that I deserve that intro, but thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I know we talked about doing this a couple months ago, and I'm happy we finally able to get it together.
Me too. I'm like so excited you're here today. And I know you had to like rush from soccer and coming back. I want to give a shout out to your son's team because they just made.
The state tournament, we are going for the state championships. They won their last game tonight, so we're super excited that they're going to be playing for the title this year.
Woohoo! And they won like bigger grades, right?
Yep. They went up a
Not their
division. They
age.
played a tough team. Really did great. They played with such heart today. I was really proud of them. They had an unbelievable showing.
That's awesome. I'm so happy and proud of them too. I had my kids used to do a lot of swimming and I used to run here and there with them and everywhere. So I hear you and I applaud that. I applaud that. I'm so proud of the team as well. I need to hear more after they won more. So tell me, let's talk a little bit about your personal journey and background.
Mhm.
What's the story behind how you first got into fantasy football?
Sure. So it's funny. I guess we'll spend the first part of the show talking about my son. The way I got into fantasy football, I actually was unaware of the fantasy community about 5 years back, and someone had sent me a tweet from Scott Fish, and what the tweet said was, "It's Father's Day, and I want to hear your best Father's Day story. I have a couple spots left in my tournament." And I said, "Well, whatever, let's see what happens." And my son had made me this Father's Day card, and it was really, really sweet. Like, so I honestly just posted it to brag. But I figured I'd send it to Scott. At the time, didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was, but I sent him the card. And I think I was like one of the last three entries in Scott Fishbowl 10. We were drafting like 3 days after I got my invite. So I had to read the rules, figure it out. I didn't get to pick a draft slot. I just got whatever was left. And that's how it began. And I didn't really give it much thought. It was just a regular kind of fantasy game for me. But then something happened I was actually shocked by. If you can't tell from my accent, and I know, Carla, you know this, I'm from Boston. And if there's one thing I love is trash talk. And Matt Kelly, the Podfather, put out a video. I'll never forget it. It was after the draft, and he just ripped us to shreds, like told us everything we did wrong, how easy this was going to be for him to win. I didn't know who he was. I thought he was just a guy in our league, and I watched the video, and I love that. Like, that to me is one of the best things about fantasy is I love talking trash, love having fun with it. But he happened to be my week one opponent. So what happened was I had won that matchup, and I had an idea to just put a smile on the other 11 guys in my division's face by taking his video. I studied it end to end, and I recreated it, explaining why he lost the first week. And in the end, I told him, and next year, now that I'm your daddy, I would like you to make me a Father's Day card. And that way I can get to the Scott Fishbowl 11. Hence, Daddy's Home. That's where it was born. And I will tell you, I thought 11 people were going to watch this video. I had at the time like 42 followers, and probably half of them were bots, if we're being real. And I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb for 4 days. I went from 40 followers to 3,000 in 4 days. And then I started getting invited onto podcasts, which I'd never done before. I started getting offers to write for fantasy, and I had no idea what to do. This whole community just showed themselves, and I didn't know who they were. I still, to this day, 5 years in, someone will follow me and they'll be like, do you know who that is? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I know they're a good person, but I don't know who they are to all of you, because it's not something I did. Me and my dad have been drafting out of like magazines for years, watching ESPN, but that's about it. But that's how I got here, and have kind of just been riding that weird wave ever since. I'm very much known for going with the flow, and that's how I end up like shows like this, or I end up with, whatever. When cool people invite me to do cool things, I have a habit of just saying yes. And I guess that's kind of how that journey you talked about in the intro came to be, and it's been a wild 5, almost 6-year ride now.
That's amazing. Oh my God. I love that you shared why you have that daddy a name. So you were calling everybody that you're gonna be their daddy, and you made it happen.
I made it happen. My partner absolutely despises it. When she hears grown adults calling me daddy, she has to turn away, which is also one of my favorite parts of it. My friend Linda, Lindellians, she made
Yes.
me a bracelet. She made Taylor Swift friendship bracelets, and mine says daddy. And
Oh my God.
it's hilarious. It's just, it's all part of, I think, what the platform is made for, which is to just have fun, have a smile. Matt came back at me. I met Matt. It's always been fun. It's always been all love, but it's playful, and that's what I love. Like, I like making the game more enjoyable in any way that I can.
And this is how it should be. This is how it should be. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable. And I think this is how you get success and be successful out of it if it's enjoyable. So, what's the most underrated skill you've developed through this work? Through the everything that you went through 6 years.
Yeah, the most underrated skill, to be honest, has nothing to do with football. When I look at, even really in my professional life, when I look at in my social life, I have learned to communicate better. I have learned to articulate myself in a way that is welcoming to others, that isn't closed off. I find that, like, in all my interactions now, being in this space, working with such a diverse group of people, being in the public eye and Twitter, which, as you know, can be difficult at times. I have found a way to change my communication style to be far more open and far more curious, as opposed to judgmental or closed off.
Yeah.
And that has opened up opportunities for me, not just in this space, but also in my life, that I'm so grateful for. I think people have given me tips along the way. I've tried to learn from others that are better than me, and it's really helped just improve my overall communication, which I'm super grateful for.
I love that. Tell me, with everything fantasy football and your analysis that you started already doing when when you open up to the community, what was the most controversial take you've ever made in fantasy football?
So, outside of being a trash talker, there was one
Yes.
call that actually hit. Being where I'm from, that was shocking to others. And the question was, who is going to start for the Patriots, Cam Newton or Mac Jones? It was the year that Mac Jones was drafted, number 15 overall, I believe, by the Patriots. And I had said Mac Jones. And what was funny was it wasn't just the take. It was what happened afterwards, because I got attacked and they said, you believe that Cam Newton, that Mac Jones is better than Cam Newton. And I said, no. And I've stood by, there's one thing that I've done that makes me a little different than others, or at least different than some, which is I said, football is a business. We look at it as a game. It is a business. I said, and two things happened. Cam Newton had an $8 million non-guaranteed contract, number one. And number two, they signed Brian Hoyer, who is a far better backup for a Mac Jones-led offense than he was for Cam Newton. So what I followed up with was, it's not that he's better. Cam Newton is getting cut. And that was with all the beat writers saying Cam Newton's starting, Mac Jones is going to cover, carry a clipboard. All of Boston was saying Cam Newton was our starter for that year. I said Cam Newton was getting cut, and even I didn't predict this. It happened 2 days later. And that blew up. And what it became was really what I try to base my platform on, which is measured takes based on tangible information that you can use. So I'm not yelling Mac Jones season like you see some people do. I don't write in capital letters. I simply analyze the business. I look at the way that teams tend to operate, and I make my predictions based on what would make the team most profitable and what makes the most sense based on the contracts. Shout out to Spot Track and other sites that give us that opportunity to read those numbers. But that was the most controversial take at the time. And people were like, you hate Cam Newton. There were some people that thought it might have been coded racism in a way, which is wild to me, being where I'm from and, who I'm friendly with. But there was a lot of pushback. But then when it hit, I'll tell you that there was a lot of credit given, which I was very happy about. That people did come back and they're like, yeah, that's my bad. You were right. But at the time, it was the hottest of hot takes coming out of a Bostonian to say that Cam Newton was not going to start for the Patriots. And
That's
that kind of
crazy.
became a quick hitter. But yeah, that was, I want to say now what Mac Jones been in the league 3-4 years. So that was very early on for someone that wasn't established like myself to make a direct statement. And I think that's what people find from me, is that I don't say, well, maybe, or or I make statements that I believe to be true. And that's how I've carried myself.
Let's go. I just want to say, everybody on X, join us on YouTube, you guys, and ask your questions. I can see you on X. Join on YouTube so we can see your questions and we can talk. You can talk to Mike tonight. So, talking about the Patriots, Mike,
Mhm.
it looks like this year they're doing really well. They are first in their division.
Mhm.
What do you think about that, being from Boston and all?
This is it's funny, since 2007, which is still, people can argue with the wall, the greatest NFL team of all time. Granted, they didn't win. Sorry, Eli killed us again with the helmet catch. But with the exception of 2007, I've never had more fun watching a Patriots team. The Tom Brady-led Patriots were great. They were very talented, but this team is fun. Now, I will say that there's going to be ups and downs. Like Drake May is playing unbelievable to lead the league in completion percentage while being fourth in average depth of target. Those numbers normally don't go together. We're seeing some wild times here. They have a very easy schedule, so I'm not blinded to the fact that all of a sudden we're the greatest team in history. However, this team is fun. They play the game with an enjoyment that we haven't seen with Belichick at the helm, and they seem to be playing for each other. I mean, they've turned Stephon Diggs from a diva to a leader. Drake May is just an unbelievable talent and playing out of his mind. Kayshon Boutte is finally hitting his stride. And the defense, I mean, signing Robert Spillane, signing Landry, they're such a solid team right now and so much fun to watch that I don't think that I think a playoff at this point is almost locked in with their upcoming schedule being so light. But I wouldn't be shocked to see them giving the Chiefs a run in the AFC Championship game. I think that there's a real possibility there. I do not think this is a Super Bowl team. I still think there are teams that can beat the Patriots. But if things fall right, I could see them winning a couple games in the playoffs, which would be really wonderful for a team that's probably a year or two ahead of schedule.
In my opinion, this year, it has been an eye-opener. The teams that we thought that they will not win, they were winning, which is, it was like a slap on the face at some of the fantasy football, teams that everybody was building. So how are your team doing this year?
I actually just did the math a couple days ago because I always find it funny that people will say what their record is, and then they'll take out orphans and they'll take out rebuilds and all these things. I don't play in a ton of leagues. I am currently 42-25. So I am very much on the winning edge of things. That includes teams that I share with my children, that they pick the players.
Nice.
They're doing quite well on their own. But I've gotten very lucky in a lot of ways. I've gotten, I haven't been killed by the injury bug. I think the worst injury for me was Joe Burrow. I was heavily invested in Joe Burrow. But overall, yeah, I'm actually looking at the playoffs for, I think, all but maybe one league at this point. I've been off to a really, really hot start, and I'm hoping that's going to continue. Gotten lucky by, late picks like a Rondé Gadsden. Gemma, what's up, my man? Rondé Gadsden being a late pick on a lot of my team. Shout out to my friends in the happy hour who turned me on to him. We've gotten pretty lucky with injuries, but yeah, overall my teams are thriving right now, and I hope I didn't jinx them by answering the question that way.
I love that. I know some people have like 100 plus teams, and I don't know how they're doing that. I don't even play. Not yet. So
I think I have 7, to be honest. So that's and even I'm trying to get that down.
That's good. Like 7 is good. 100?
Crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Which player has surprised you the most in dynasty formats?
Oh, that's a tough one. We've had a lot of surprises, and I will say the one player that I was very wrong on, and I hate what just happened to him this week, was Cam Scatterboo. I did not see that coming. I loved what he did in college. I love seeing him in the Pro Bowl, in the bowl game, throwing up and then getting back onto the field. He's clearly a tough guy, even trying to walk off what was a horrific injury last week. But I will readily admit, I was out on Scatterboo. I did not think that his style was going to actually translate to the NFL, and I was horribly wrong. And I am gutted with the fact that he got injured. But I will say, and I will say this with the utmost sincerity, when I am down on a player, I want them all to be successful. So I take no happiness in being right when a player is no good, but I missed horribly on Cam Scatterboo, and I had no shares of him. So I missed what was such a fun wave of an 8-week run for him.
Sorry, Doug is coming in. Exactly, Mike is saying I put him to work because I forgot stuff at the YMCA, and I'm like, you have to go and get them for me.
On waiver claim night. No less.
Waiver claim night.
Come on, you put them in Monday night, Doug. You know this.
Right?
I wish that was the case.
Thank you, honey. I appreciate it. Have a good night. I love that, Mike. So tell me, what's your favorite part of preparing for a draft?
So my favorite part is prepping, honestly, for the wide receiver class. I do a really fun podcast with my friend Rich Cooling on the Fantasy Sanctuary every year. So before the draft starts, I am studying the wide receiver class. And the reason for that is twofold. Number one, it's the position I played. So it's probably the only one that I'm confident watching film that I know what I'm looking at. I think people love spraying and saying all these things. I have no idea what a running back's supposed to do. I didn't play that position. I don't know it well. And so to me, I stick to what I know and I listen to intelligent people for things I don't know. So that's my favorite part is studying film. And the second reason why I love it so much is because it's now a 4-year running podcast with me and Rich that it's become like the start of fantasy season for me. Like it's March. I know he's in my DMs. He's like, time to talk wide receivers. And then it comes out that, okay, now we're going to hit the ground running. Right afterwards, the NFL draft hits. Right after that, dynasty drafts are happening. So it's like the unofficial start of that's fair too, John. That is fair too.
Yes, that's fair.
But yeah, so it's the unofficial start of the season for me, which I love.
I love that. I really love it. So, what's the funniest trade offer you've ever received?
Oh, the funniest trade offer. I'm trying to think. I've gotten some wild ones, but I think my favorite was this year. There was a guy in my league. It's a one quarterback league, mind you, not a super flex, and he overpaid for Trevor Lawrence. He had traded Tony Pollard a first and a second, and I believe that he thought that he was going to be able to flip that into profit. And he asked me in a one quarterback league, mind you, for Jonathan Taylor and a first round pick for Trevor Lawrence. And I looked at that trade and I shook my head, trying for the life of me to get into this man's brain to figure out at what point do you think we are even close? But it was the audacity of the first being on my side that I loved, the boldness of it, that I couldn't help but laugh. It was like, what game are you watching that I'm not? And it's funny because this is a home league. So it is 9 people who have real jobs and then me who does this. And I'm like, well, I do this for a living. I think I know how value works. And
Right?
no, thank you. But I really appreciate it. But the best part of it is it brought the league together because everybody else got similar ridiculous offers. So the group chat was going crazy. So that
Wow.
was what made it the most fun trade offer was I got to bring mine and everyone brought theirs. And we were all laughing at Trevor Lawrence in a one quarterback league, and the valuation he put on this man was absolutely incredible. And he's a good sport about it. He's still laughing about it to this day. It
I love
it
that.
was hilarious. We had a lot of fun with that one.
What league format do you think it's the most underrated?
So underrated is interesting because I hate it and love it at the same time, but
Yeah.
it is vampire leagues. Any league
Oh,
where a winner can steal a player. So this week, I went into a game, I was up 28 points, and he had Rashi Rice and Isaiah Pacheco left, and I had Zach Ertz. Now, what made this so important is that if I lose, he steals Jamar Chase from me. And if I win, I get Lad McConkey, his at that point best player. I was top in the league, but he called me out because a lot of my players were on bye. It was an excellent call out on his part. I had to trade Sam Laporta for Travis Kelce in a dynasty league, which is, by the way, if you're listening, horrible trade in any other instance. But I had to lock in the win. I ended up pulling it out, which I was really thrilled about, but it was so close. But what I love about that league is you're not just sweating a win or a loss. Like your entire team can change and reverse its fortune with just one win. I have won games where I stole Josh Allen. I have won games where I stole Christian McCaffrey, and it turned my entire fortunes around. So it's such a, not financially, I actually don't gamble a lot of money. So it's the closest to high stakes that I get, have to lose a player that I love. So that's the format that I know a lot of people aren't getting into yet, but that's honestly just such a fun league because you can win or lose an entire season in one game.
It's interesting. I don't believe I ever heard about the Vampire League before. It's a creative rule to just steal something if you don't win.
Oh, it's incredible. And shout out to Ryan McDowell, who's the commissioner in ours. It is such a difficult league to run. It is such a
Yes.
difficult league to be a commissioner in. And he's does such a great job at it. But ultimately, it's wild to play in something like that.
Andrew is in the house.
All right, Coop, your best player would be Evan Engram, buddy. I wouldn't even want to call you out in a league. We know how you draft. Your best players aren't anybody I want, homie. Just kidding. Love you, buddy. Thanks for coming. Hey,
Wendy, sister, I'm so happy she's here. So Wendy is gonna jump up for the 100th with Greg. I can't
Amazing.
wait for our 100 episode. You're 97, Mike, tonight. I'm so honored, honestly. So we were talking about the inspiration of your first trash talking video.
Mhm.
How do you keep your content fresh year after year after that first trash talking video hit and gave you a lot of followers?
So really, I just try to be authentic, and because I evolve as a person, because I'm learning every day, like everything changes with me. So I have made other trash talk videos. The most recent one about Andrew Cooper. Actually, when I beat him in the fishbowl, I wasn't going to let that opportunity pass.
Ooh.
but it's never just trash talk videos. Like it's never just one thing. It's always just delivered with authenticity. It's always trying to think of what do people need now. And then the other thing I do is I very much target redraft players with dynasty stuff. I try to take the mystique and fear out of certain types of leagues, vampire leagues, for example, auction leagues. So a lot of what I write isn't for analysts. It's not meant to be shocking. It's not meant to blow up. It's truly meant to help others come into a space that maybe they weren't comfortable with. So I try to write it thinking of what does the basics you need to not be scared to join another league. And my goal isn't to see analysts in my league. My goal is to see people that have never played that format giving it a try. So that's really where I've kind of kept my focus.
I love that. I love how you keep your fresh content going. What's the most memorable live show you've ever hosted?
Oh man, there have been a lot. I guess the most memorable, I made a bet with Chase Vernon, and this was during COVID and the trends of doing things on live shows when you lose a bet. And I lost a bet, and I had to do a Big Mac value meal with a chocolate shake in a blender and drink it during the show. So not memorable in a great way. But the other one, actually, believe it or not, and he's in the chat, and I hope he's still here because I want him to hear this. I did a career redo show with Gemmo. And we had so much fun to get out of the kind of, I guess, the routine you fall into about, Mike, who should I start? Who should I trade for? And really talk about, hey, I want to join a carnival. I wanted to make a taco truck. And when I watched their anniversary episode and they replayed that, it was so nice to hear the group and kind of reminiscing about that. We've been talking about getting another show going. The timing hasn't worked out, but the Icon show was an absolute blast. So I gave you the worst one, and I'll also give you the best one. And there's been everything in between. I was lucky enough to be Coop's first guest on his new show. I love that. Like, there's been so many wonderful experiences. And then obviously the Potathon, where I've got to be on with a ton of people. But the Icon show sticks out as one where everything was just so different and having to flow. And I was gasping, laughing during that show. Like, it was true belly laughs.
So I get to be on the Gemmo show as well, and we were doing Zumba, and you should see them dancing, Mike.
I can only picture it.
It was so much fun. I can't. I love it. Oh, Wendy. Oh my God. It was your birthday.
Amazing.
I love their show. I like everybody have a different like podcast, a different show, and it shows their true self, which is really amazing. And that's what's important, in my
Absolutely.
opinion. So talking about, writing and podcast and broadcasting and stuff like that, how do you prepare differently from writing first versus broadcasting?
So writing is something that I only do when it hits me. So I'm lucky enough to not have quotas anymore, to not have requirements. So I really love the fact that like something can hit me. So for me, obviously, I mean, there's no shock on that, Doug. No shock at all. Um, so for me, it's simple. Like I have a series of notes in my phone. I almost write the whole article on my phone and then transcribe it to the computer. But what I'll do is I'll just put together notes and I'll be scrolling through and it'll hit me and I'll start adding to it until I have an article. So it's like I'm on the train. It's halftime of my kid's soccer game. Whenever the mood hits me, I'll start something. But
Nice.
I could be writing an article for a year and a half and then ultimately put it out. And that's why I do mostly evergreen work, because it's like I can put it out whenever I feel like it. For a show, I'll be honest, I don't prepare. And that's what I love about it, is that people are used to things like this, where I don't have a script. I don't need a show sheet. Just go where you want and I'll take you, because I came up on live streams. I've come up on the radio. I've taken calls. So normally when I go to a show, people are pulling me in last minute and I'm just like, take it and we'll go. So I like to just let shows happen, let broadcasts happen. But articles, I'm far more meticulous and take like a very long time to write them, and then eventually say, "Hey, I think this good." Send it to the editors, and they're lovely enough to make it look like an actual article when I'm done, which I appreciate.
I love that. Which guest has left the deepest impression on you?
Honestly, there's been so many. It's hard to say, but if I truly had to pick one, it would have to be the first time that I did a show with Coodadoodle. I think me and Amanda have become such close friends now, like someone that I talk to all the time. But when we first went on a show was before she came the success that she is, the legend that she is, however you want to put it. It was just somebody that she hadn't been on many shows, and it was just us being us. And what I love is that I feel like we've kept that relationship and that level of communication and that fun since that day. And that's been almost 5 years ago now, but we've never stopped interacting as the nobodies that were just having fun talking football day one. I don't think that's ever changed, despite her being such a massive success now and someone I'm so proud of. I think that day, I made a promise to her that if I ever stop having fun, tell me to leave Twitter, because that's what we're here for. And that's been kind of the mantra throughout, is just have fun. It's a game. And I think that day we kind of solidified that that's who we were going to be. And I like to think we've kept that for the entire time.
Wow, I love that, Mike. What's the funniest thing behind the scene moment that you've ever had, and you want to share it tonight?
Oh gosh, the funniest behind the scenes moment. So I have shared this one before, and I'm going to share it again because he's here. But it's actually my banner on Twitter. We've talked about where my tag came from, but my banner
Yes.
also has a story, and it's about a player we just talked about. So we were at the first live Scott Fish Bowl, and the way this setup was just perfect for me. I forget what the pick was. I believe Coop was 4 and I was 5. At that point, this is the 7th round. Evan Engram's ADP is 10th round. And Coop couldn't stop talking about Evan Engram on his podcast and his articles. So when the 7th round came and he's here and I'm here, we're going all the way around. So I decided to do something. Most people would pick Evan Engram with the next pick. No, not me. I walked up to him. I put my arm around him. I whispered in his ear, not this pick, but next pick, I'm taking Evan Engram. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. And I just walked away. The draft went around. It came back. I put on my Evan Engram sticker and watched his soul leave his body.
Oh my God.
And it solidified what our friendship is, which is me torturing Coop at all times. But it wasn't taking him the next pick because that didn't hurt enough. I wanted the opportunity for him to think I was just messing with him to last as long as it could. But there was no way in hell he was getting as a player. I got crushed in that fishbowl because it was the year after I made the finals and I didn't care. So I literally, and he knows this, I just drafted off his rankings. And just
but you took Evan Engram.
I took every one of his picks that he wanted and tried to make him cry during the draft. So that will tell you if you want to know what type of, it's so much fun. So if you want to know what I value in fantasy football, it is crying first, title second, money third. If I can make somebody cry, that's my number one goal in any fantasy draft.
Oh my God, Mike, don't make me cry. I don't need that. So I get the chance to meet up with Coop and his family. He have an amazing, amazing, amazing family. His wife and daughter are such like amazing people. And you should see his little girl. Whenever she sees Doc, she will tell him moo.
She is unbelievable. They're such a wonderful family.
She's amazing. She's so beautiful. God bless her for them. She's awesome. So we both go live and we have a lot of mistakes. How do you handle mistakes on live podcast?
I laugh. I absolutely laugh. I will say I outwardly. Okay, so let's take two parts here. Let's talk about outward Mike on the show and let's talk about inward Mike.
Yes.
Outward Mike laughs about it, plays it off, pretends that it's cool. Inward Mike can tell you that 2 years ago, I called Will Levis Will Greer for an entire segment of Sirius XM, and I wake up at 3 a.m. haunted by that sweating. So outwardly laughing, inwardly, I beat myself up on what an idiot I am and will remember those things. Like I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and remember a mistake I made at 12 years old. Like that's how my anxiety triggers. But outwardly I play it off as a joke, but trust me, if I ever made a mistake, and I do mean this, if I ever make a bad call, like last week, I told someone to start Cincinnati's defense over the Chiefs. Oops, that was a terrible call. Those haunt me. Those absolutely haunt me. I never saw Justin Fields going off like that. And to be honest, I thought it was Tyrod Taylor was going to start anyway. But those are the things that kill me. But outwardly, I'm very comfortable laughing at myself. I don't expect perfection because I know that's impossible. And I also try to do it with a smile. And I try to make it so that I call out my own misses. You will see me use the meme, you dumb bitch. When I make a bad call, I'll retweet it and I will just call myself all the names. Fantasy receipts doesn't have to come from me. I do it myself on my own personal fantasy receipts. But I also think that helps me with the audience because I think they know that I will not just victory lap. I will literally call out every take I've had, good or bad, and try to just be authentic with everybody. But you're going to make mistakes, and that's totally okay. So with my friends, with everybody, with you, if you make a mistake during the show, I'll be like, that's fine. We all make mistakes. With me, I'll be like, oh, you dumb bitch. You really screwed that one up.
Me too. I'm so much like you. I will be laughing it out, but I wouldn't be sleepy because it will be like all over my head. But I got you. And like you said, no one is perfect, but we tend to be perfect, especially when we go live and we do all of this stuff. But it's the best way, like you said, it's to laugh at oneself. When you laugh at oneself, no one can laugh at you and make you feel bad about it, which is really awesome. I like that, Mike. So tell me about your collaboration with Chase Vernon. What was your favorite part and how did this happen?
Oh, so my favorite part was day one. I had gone on a couple shows at this point. Like I told you, I wasn't aware of how fantasy worked. I wasn't aware of the community. and I got invited on a podcast. Bob's Three-Toed Warriors, for anyone who's been around for a while. Bob hasn't been around for a bit. But I went on Bob's podcast, and I wanted to do another one. And here's how it worked out with Chase. I posted, I'd like to go on to a podcast and go live tonight. Is anyone interested? And Chase hit me up and said, yeah, we can do a show tonight if you want on my channel. You write a show sheet and I'll see you at 9. Now, here's the fun part. I can tell you someone who never knew what the hell a show sheet was, and that was me. But I thought to myself, oh, dumber people have figured this out. I have Google. So I wrote, yeah, sure, I'll write a show sheet and I'll see you at 9. I was on my lawnmower cutting my grass and I went, oh shit, I got to write a show sheet. How does one write a show sheet? So I sent a second tweet out saying, can someone send me a show sheet? Because I don't know what they look like. I got a show sheet and I deleted all of it and I wrote it. And he said, pick a theme. And what I did, which actually became a running show for 3 years, was I picked players outside of the ESPN top 20 rankings in their weekly rankings that were going to finish in the top 10 of their position. Yeah. And that's just what I did. And that became my thing. It actually became a show called Dumpster Diving with Daddy on JWB. I don't know which side it's on. Other side. Here we go. Yes. They picked up my podcast. It became a thing where I did what they knew as dumpster diving, where I would just pick somebody outside the top 20 and said they're going to finish in the top 10. I'd be betting against Field Yates, Matthew Berry, Mike Clay, all people I'm a huge fan of, Eric Moody, people that I've done shows with that I love. Nice. I started picking against them and got pretty good at it. It got me better at analyzing matchups. It got me better at actually understanding cornerback play. But how I met him was he said to write a show sheet, and I didn't want to tell him I didn't know how to because I thought that was a missed opportunity. So I just did. We did it. We hit it off really well. And Chase, and he knows this, I give so much credit of what I've done to him because he gave me an opportunity before anyone else would. And he just said, hey, my audience really liked this. And he did a lot of solo podcasts. He's like, do you want to do this? We started working with John Bauer, Mitch Sorensen, Troy King, and Lindellians were doing a show before us, Josh Hudson after us, Matt Donnelly after that. And we all kind of collaborated to make sure we didn't bump into each other. And we created this lineup of shows that lasted like 4 hours throughout the evening on actually the night before waivers on Tuesday. Wednesday. That's tonight. I'm already confusing my days. But our Wednesday night lineup, you could watch all of our shows. And we started guesting on each other's shows. So we started really threading this like wonderful community of Wednesday night live shows that at times I was on your YouTube from 7 p.m. to midnight, exhausted because I was doing everybody's show. But it was so nice because instead of being competitive, we all made sure we didn't get into each other's way. And we were all like, what slot do you want? And me and Chase slotted really nice in the 9 p.m. It was great for me because I could put my kids to bed before I went live. I do a lot of my podcasting while they're asleep, so I don't miss parent time. But it was perfect. Like for me, it was perfect. And I couldn't have picked a better partner to start with than Chase. So that's how it all came about. And if you don't know Chase, honestly, one of the most selfless people in the industry.
I would love to meet him, and maybe I would love to have him on the podcast one night as well. Talking about Matt Donnelly, I didn't see him for like a long time. And you saying that because you were saying that you had to drink the a Big Mac or something with the shake. I think he did something like that too. He had to have a picture in the snow naked or something too.
Yep. That was around the same time. I actually think, didn't he also, I believe they both got waxed at one point. There was some wild punishments. Yeah. That whole stretch of show.
The JWB.
We did. Oh, that wasn't JWB, thankfully. Sorry guys, that wasn't you. But during that whole stretch of Wednesday nights, we did some crazy things. I will say now's a good time to apologize to John Bauer. I love John. John's my friend. During those crazy times when I first started, John asked what I was working on. And I may have pretended that I created an OnlyFans. I may have pretended that I was doing things on the internet that I'd like people to pay me for during his fantasy football podcast where he was giving start-sit advice. So, John, if you're watching, I'm sorry, buddy. I've grown. I've learned my mistakes. And I am sorry that I did not talk football on your show. I know you wanted me to talk about the articles I was writing, but I was bored, and that was wrong of me. So I'm sorry. He did get me back. He ordered the last order of biscuits and gravy at the breakfast place we were at in Canton, and ate it in front of me, knowing that's what I wanted. So I think we're even. But that was a crazy time where we were doing whatever, whenever, and just having it was all
OnlyFans, Mike.
it was an innocent, fun time, but my goodness, it was a wild stretch of like a year of us just going live. It was COVID. We weren't seeing people outside, and I think that was our outlet. So.
Article. We will have it.
That's right, Wendy. We're just gonna do nothing but have fun.
I love that. Like my jaw is hurting, Mike, from smiling ear to ear. I love all your stories that you're sharing. That's amazing. Tell me, what does helping others mean to you in this space?
So it's a lot of kind of just where I come from, where I was raised. Like, we're very much a community basis, and it's so important. So we do, and Coop told the story at the live draft a couple years ago. In Fantasy Cares, the Podathon, everything that we do in Fantasy Cares, like such a bulk of it goes to Toys for Tots. And one of the things that I've always said, my mother and father are they're such amazing people. And my mom growing up lost her dad early. My grandmother raised her kids. Oh no, it's something I actually didn't know him, but there's the relevance of the story is what's really important to me is that my grandmother raised kids on her own, by herself, at a time when that just didn't happen. It just wasn't possible. And by the grace of Toys for Tots, my mom and her brothers and sisters, some years were able to have Christmas because of that they wouldn't have otherwise. And to be blessed by people like Scott Fish and Ryan McDowell, for them to give me the honor of being able to work in such a way that I can pay forward the kindness that was given to someone who means the world to me and my mom, and someone that was able to benefit from a charity, that is just the most meaningful thing I can do. And honestly, with all the fun I've had, with all the jokes we've had, this is the one thing that means the world to me, being able to repay what the kindness my mom was given. Overall, my whole life is about trying my best to help those who can't help themselves. We foster sick animals in this house. We fostered over 40 animals. It's just, to me, when you're able-bodied, when you're financially capable, when you have the time to do so, everybody can be successful, I think, if we all work together and try to help. So that's why Fantasy Cares. That's why putting the hours into the Podathon. Thank you, Sal Lito, as well, for bringing me on. Bob Gilchrist. The team goes on and on. Russ Fisher. Like I could name it. It's just such a wonderful group. But it's so special to me to know that the next generation can hopefully thrive the way that my family did from benefiting from charities like that. So that's why it's so important to me to put the time in, to get involved, to do as much as I can, to help with the live drafts, to help with the Podathon, to do whatever, honestly, that charity needs. And then to be able to bring my children to go shopping, to bring them to the actual Target run, to drop the toys off with the Marines, to see where they're going, to know what community it's going to. It's something I can't describe, and nothing I ever could have imagined. Like, going from a trash talk video to helping raise $500,000 for Toys for Tots is a leap I just never thought was going to happen. And I'm just so lucky to play a small part in that, and the pride I feel to not only play a small part in it, but know the wonderful people behind it and consider them friends and family at this point. It has been just so special.
I love that you mentioned that, Mike, because I do a lot of events as well and I help people around. And I did reach to Scott Fish, honestly, because we have here in Connecticut Operation Elf. And Jonathan, he's a friend of mine. He's a Zumba instructor. He's a soldier. He does Operation Elf for the families for soldiers. And Scott was like, how can I help? And this is amazing. This is what the community is all about, like helping each other. And like you said, for Christmas, there's a lot of kids that they don't have the money to have a toy or have anything. And for you guys to connect on that level and to bring this opportunity to everybody, like we appreciate it and we love you for that. You have a big family for Scott Fish Bowl, and you do a lot of good in this world, and we need more people like you guys. So thank you. We appreciate you a lot.
Yeah, I said all the thanks for me goes to Scott and Ryan and what they put together, and
Yeah,
they're just I'm in awe of how much they do
yeah,
year in and year out, and how many people have attached themselves to it. Almost forgot John Bosch, who's obviously one of the biggest drivers of it as well. There is so many people that have taken on and run with the mission that it's just like I said, it's awe inspiring, and
it is.
I am such a small part of such a major operation, and I just feel lucky to be attached to it anyway.
Yeah. I hope one day I can help as well, like bringing this here to Connecticut too. So it's going to be really amazing. Um, Tell me, what's one way fantasy football can be more inclusive, in your opinion?
That's always it's always an interesting one because
Yeah,
there's so many ways to look at inclusivity, but I think one of the big things for me, and we touched upon it with kind of some of the articles that I write, is that a lot of the content you see and a lot of the content that's readily available starts on step four. A lot of us have been playing this game for about 10 years, and I think that there's not enough outreach for people who want to get involved but don't know how you got there. So a lot
yeah,
of times something as simple as like we use nicknames or shorthand for players during content that maybe people don't even know who that is, like using DJM for DJ Moore, using Puka instead of his full name, Puka Nakua, like whatever it might be. I think that so many people have tried to find these deep cuts and these wild takes that we've left behind people that are
yeah,
trying to get involved, that are trying to reach out. I think a lot of what we're seeing too that has been a good start, for example, and I want to call this out as a good start, is we're starting to see leagues that are for women, that are
agree.
for groups that aren't involved. However, the next step is to blend them. Don't make them separate. Blend
Yes,
them, put them together, have people working in leagues together. Because now what you've done is you've created something where people can play, but you haven't created inclusivity. You've just created a separate space. So I think the next step for us is to blend the leagues, is to get people working together, but make it a format that's easy to understand, make it a format that beginners can play in, and make it a format that isn't financially I'm trying to think of the word, prohibiting for folks, that isn't maybe you only have access if you're on a certain platform, if you do certain things. And I think that's what I love about the Fishbowl, is I do think it has been a huge step in inclusivity, because there are so many people from so many different backgrounds. There are so many different reach outs, but I want to see that weaved into a lot of our other leagues. A lot of the leagues I see do happen to be a lot of the same analysts, same backgrounds, things like that. I'd like to see bigger leagues with more groups involved. I think that's the way to go.
I love that. So last week I had Kamini. Do you know her? She came
I
to the
do. Yep,
show.
I watched that one, and she's doing some amazing
She's
things, by the way.
amazing. So talking about, letting people learn about the game and stuff like that. What she was saying a lot of good stuff. Like, I'm eager to see what she's building. So I do believe this is something that's going to be huge for the community. And I love that you're telling to like mix women and men together. That's something that's going to make it more inclusive to everybody. And you never know, maybe one of the women will win. So we will see.
I would not be surprised at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, it might happen. You never know. So tell me, what's your long-term vision for your role in the industry?
I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky right now to have gotten to a point where cool people like yourself invite me to do things, and
Such an honor.
oh
Thank you.
no, I'm honored to be here, and I think that what's really great is that Dynasty League football has given me flexibility to kind of write what I want when I want to get involved there. Bob Harris and Mike Dempsey at Sirius XM have been wonderful to make me a recurring guest on their show, and I just to me, it's not where the show is. It's not what the show is about. It's just they're just two of the coolest people that I know, and being able to talk to them is great. The Podathon, obviously, with Sal, Russ, and Bob and the team, these have all come to me. So I think to me, what my vision is to just keep being open to cool opportunities and finding a way to make them work, because that's all I've been doing for 5 years. There hasn't been a vision from day one. I don't think there'll ever be a vision. Every day I just try to do something cool. I try to talk to somebody new. So I think I'm just going to keep doing that until the momentum slows. And then from there, hopefully help some other people do some cool stuff, and hopefully get some other folks having some enjoyment. But if I can just keep putting smiles on people's faces for as long as I can, I'll keep doing that. So
That's awesome. That's a huge vision. And I love that. I love it. So let's have some fun.
okay.
If fantasy football had a theme song, what would yours be?
Oh, a theme song. What would mine be? Oh God.
Pink Pony?
Oh no, that's a good one. No, I think I'm gonna go back. I think I'm gonna go back a little bit. Trying to think of what the right one would be. But I'm gonna go with "Bitch" by Meredith Brooks. I think that most people that play with me know that I love them, but I am going to mess with them
Yes.
mercilessly. Like I am just we talked about the vendetta with Coop. I know Ann mentioned it. We talked about Fishbowl, the Fishbowl Live when I actually started my battle with him. But overall, like in the most playful way, I am going to mess with your head every time.
Yeah.
So I can't claim like all I do is win with the DJ Carla, because I lose a lot. I have ups and downs, but really in the whole scheme of things, I am just gonna mess with people, and that's the most fun for me. That's where I get enjoyment. So win or lose, I'm always happy because I'm always messing with somebody somehow.
So, and to answer your question, he did answer that at like the middle of the show. So if you want to go back, we're not gonna tell you. Go back and see it. Which player would you most want to grab dinner with?
Oh man, so right now, I think it has to be Drake May. Like I am, I'm a
Yes.
homer. But if we go non-Patriot, I think I'd like to hang out with either George Kittle, is somebody that I always like to, or Jamal Williams, who just seems like such a fun dude, always talking about anime
Yes.
stuff and Pokemon. So those are the two. Like I don't really care about talent. I mean, they're both very talented players, but those are two people I think I could have a lot of fun hanging out with. So it would be one of those two. But of course, it'd have to be my favorite, Drake May, overall, if I had to pick one and be a homer, because what he's doing with my team is spectacular, and he also seems like a great dude. So
Well, you're winning, so What's the funniest league punishment you've ever seen?
Oh, so I'll tell you, it's overplayed now, but I will say I don't know that many of them beat the original Waffle House punishment. I mean, that to me, I want a punishment to be fun, in good spirits. Like, it should be a little painful, but some of these have been, I think, a little rough sometimes,
Yes.
and I don't love those. But the Waffle House one, that Tattoo League one was wild. And as long as everybody's in on it and enjoying it, it makes a fun memory. That was a cool one. So those are probably the two that I could think of most. But the original one, and it's been done a ton now, but the original Waffle House one was so unique and so wild at the time. And it's obviously spawned a million copycats. And I'm so happy you're here. Always love seeing you in the chat. But those are the ones to me that were most memorable over the years, for sure.
I love it. If you could swap lives with an NFL player for a day, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's an interesting one. There's a lot of. So can I switch on a game day?
It's fine with me.
Okay, perfect. Because I know he's not in the chat, but I like to have fun here. So if I could, I would switch on game day with Matthew Stafford. And I would ruin Laquan Jones' day. I would throw 74 interceptions. I would run the wrong way. That man has so much of his emotional investment tied into Matthew Stafford. He capes for him every second. And I love LQ, one of my favorite people. But I would turn it to Matthew Stafford because I can't throw a football. I was a wide receiver, not even a good one at that. But I would be Matthew Stafford on game day, just knowing I could ruin his Sunday by being his quarterback. And that, to me, would be my favorite section of it. I'd make sure he had tickets to the game. Like, I'd want to be able to see him in the stands if I could. But I would absolutely ruin his day. And I couldn't even do it as well as, by the way, if you don't watch NFL fantasy, what Marcus Grant did to Laquan on the show after the 49ers beat the Rams was the greatest 2 minutes of video in NFL fantasy history. Marcus Grant is a legend, of course, but that time where he ripped Carnell Lake and the Rams was the greatest thing I've ever seen done on YouTube on any podcast. And I would just like to continue to add to Laquan's misery. So I'd be Matthew Stafford for a Sunday.
Mike, no, I believe that song is yours. I can't. I can't do that. If you could design your own trophy, what would it look like?
Oh gosh. So this is great because I actually used to work for Trophy Smack. So I guess this fits in well. But yeah, no, I don't think I can do better than those guys have. I believe the toilet seat for the loser is genius.
Gosh, yes.
Like that, it is so much fun. That one I absolutely love. So shout out to Matt. Chase Vernon actually works for Trophy Smack as well. Shout out to Matt Walsh and the team over there. But I actually don't think I could beat the amazing work that they do, the bling they've put together. It's been so much fun. And like I said, the toilet seat was amazing. Like, that was just a spectacular loser trophy.
Nice. If you had to compare your fantasy style to a movie character, who would it be?
Oh, my fantasy style to a movie character. I think it would be the squirrel from Ice Age. I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's just chaotic all the time. So I always feel like when he tries to grab the acorn, like I always feel like I have a hold of everything, and it just becomes a complete mess. Like, I get so excited about waiver day, and I should know by now they're gonna go to trash. I have it is chaos. Like, it is shiny objects at every moment. So I guess you could either go with the chipmunk from Ice Age, or the dog from Up, who whenever he hears squirrel, looks around. Yep, that's me. Like I'm all over the place. Like I think people see me on shows and I'm giving direct answers and I'm looking at the camera and I'm using my radio voice, but it is like a duck on a pond. My brain's going like I'm playing cartoons half the time in my head. But it is chaotic. Like I get bored and just fire off trades that make no sense just because I've got nothing else going on. So I'll be on the train and I'll be like, well, what if we do this like 6 for 4? This could work. It's pure chaos. But it's always, like I said, it's always just fun for me. But it's utter chaos. Like it is the epitome of the squirrel moments over and over again.
But these are the smartest people, Mike. Like we're both kind of like similar on in so many ways. I can't believe that. Like that's what we do.
It's amazing.
We're
It's the
so
most fun
smart,
that way. I hope so. I tell myself that at least.
We are. I'm gonna tell you. What's if you could host a fantasy draft anywhere in the world, where would it be and why this place is really special for you?
Oh, so if I could host a draft anywhere in the world, it would be, I'm going to be very specific here. It would be Dick Mac's Pub in Dingle, Ireland.
Ooh.
So Dingle is probably Dingle and Copenhagen are probably my two favorite places in the world, other than Boston, where I'm from, where I live, and obviously
Yeah.
where I call home. But if we take home out of it, Dick Mac's Pub is so special for a number of reasons. Number one, it's in one of the greatest places in Ireland. It's a wonderful town. It is an unbelievable pub. Like it is such a cool pub. It has an indoor space, an outdoor space, plenty of places to have a cool draft. They have a leathersmith in the pub that makes belts while you're drinking, so you can get a belt made if you want, which is kind of sick. You can get a hat too, which is nice. They have my favorite whiskey, Green Spot, readily available and fairly affordable. So it's like the perfect spot for a draft because it has every element that makes me happy in like one place. So being able to bring 11 of my friends to a place like that, show them my happy spot from my travels. I don't think you can get much better than that. I think that's what it's all about, is sharing your happy place with others and hoping it makes them happy too. So
I'll go. I was born March 17, so I'll go to Ireland. I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
St. Patrick's
We'll,
Day.
we'll get you in the list for sure. We'll get you in that league.
I'll go watch. I'm fine. We're almost done with like we hit 1 hour plus. I do have a lot of questions to ask you, but you were amazing, Mike. So I'm gonna keep asking a couple more questions because I really don't want this to be over. Tell me, if you could add one non-football stat to fantasy scoring, what would it be?
One football stat. So
Yeah.
if I could add one thing that would help me win, I think that's obviously what I'm trying to do here. So if I'm going to take something non-football related that would help me win, knowing the people that I play against, and this is calling out folks like Coop, because I know you have noodle arms right now. I'm going to leverage my past. I'm a former powerlifter. So I'm going to give everybody 1 point for every pound they can squat that day. 1 rep, 1 pound. And the reason why I'm going to do that is that most of my fantasy scores end in like the 100 range. And I'm pretty sure I can out squat all my friends by over 100 pounds. So I would just win every game. So it's absolutely rigging the system. I will not invite Cody Charpentier because he would actually crush me in that. And there's a few others. So I'm only going to invite little people that don't lift. And I'm going to completely rig the deck. And I'm going to win my championship. So I'll finally be able to change my theme song to All I Do Is Win. Oh, yeah, no, you're not in. We're going to get smaller people. Always smaller. Nobody that I think is strong is coming. We are going to find the weakest people we can because it's going to be rigged. So you're not invited. No, come on. I know the leg strength of Zumba instructors. I'm not playing that game with you. No.
I'm not happy.
Yeah. So, but that's what we're going to do.
So, what ritual you do before watching football?
So I actually have one, and I know that I have been I have been using some language, which I've heard in your show is kind of okay. But there's one ritual that I want to call out. And I wrote a while back something that is known as the game day blessing. And I start every fantasy season with it.
Yeah.
And it goes like this. May your draft picks produce. May your running backs break loose. May all your QBs thrive and your wide receivers extend drives. May your tight ends all smash and your dailies all cash. I hope your predictions and parlays and hot takes all hit. Now stop changing your lineup while you're taking a shit.
Oh my God.
That is my blessing for every week because I know the people are doing it. They're sitting there on the toilet and they're tinkering over and over again. So it's a good reminder that I hope you win, but stop tinkering with your lineup. That has become my ritual for every fantasy season. It's a poem that I wrote in September 13th of 2020. So we're going on 5 years of kicking off our fantasy season with a poem.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, Mike. I really don't want this to be over, but I have still a couple more questions. What do you wish people ask you that they never do?
That they never ask me. It's crazy because I think I've been such an open book that most people ask me a lot of things. But one of the things that I don't think people ask me enough is who I take fantasy advice from. I think people often come to me asking things like, about the podathon, asking me start sit questions, trades, and everything like that. But there are a series of people that I have group chats with that probably aren't folks that most people would expect. Like I have a lot of people that I follow that are famous. You all know the names, like that I have great relationships with. But there's a series of people that I don't think get nearly enough credit. Folks that I used to work with at JWB, which is why even though the website is defunct, I don't take the logo down anymore because Wyatt, Skylar, Timmy, there are just such great people on that channel. But I think if people, rather than asking my advice, would ask me a question and say, who do you think the best person to answer this is? You'd be surprised at how rarely I would say it's me and how often I would tell you, you should ask this person, whether it's Coop with tight ends, whether it's Linda with kickers. I think the best way to get the best fantasy advice from someone like me is rather than ask me the question, ask me who you should ask. I think your following will get better. I think your knowledge will get better, and you'll grow somebody who's deserving of their space. As we talked about, I got here from a trash talk video. I have a lot of fun, but there are so many hardworking people that deserve a platform more than me. And if you ask me, I try to pump them wherever I can. But if you ask me, I promise you, I will answer you honestly on who is the best person to ask your question to. So if you phrase it that way, I will point you to some of the best fantasy analysts I've ever met.
I love that you're giving credit to people, Mike. Not everybody does that. And it looks like you're such down-to-earth person. And like I said, I'm really honored having you tonight on the show. So it's almost done. And I do have one more question for you. And I ask all my guests that question.
Sure.
Which is, what one secret or something that you did maybe at an early age, but you never spoke of, that people don't know about you, but you want to share it tonight on the Game Changers?
It's the one thing that I've never told people that I want to tell people now. Well, that's a tough one because I do, as you can tell, I tell stories. We've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes now. I think that, okay, I'm going to tell you the most crushing thing that happened to me. And it was way back when, and I say crushing in the most joking manner. And it was my friend Bobby, my father's friend Bobby, was a limo driver. And I was at baseball and didn't realize he was a limo driver for professional wrestlers and brought one to my house when I was 10. and I wasn't home. So
Oh,
it was so crushing because I'm not anymore. I mean, I haven't watched it in years, though. I am, I guess shout out to John Cena for following me. I'm one of the 2 million people he follows or whatever. So
nice.
in that very exclusive 2 million people group. Thanks, John. I appreciate you. But otherwise, I haven't really, followed wrestling. But I remember that day just being crushed because I came home from baseball practice and there was a signed like muscle milk bottle. But I didn't.
Who was it?
It was somebody that I learned later I didn't really want to meet as an older person. But it reminds you, this is a kid in the 80s, and it was Hulk Hogan was sitting on my front porch. And
listen, I was raised with, I know the stories that they're telling and stuff like that, but like when we were watching
at that moment, yeah, he was larger than life.
Was larger than life itself.
Exactly, the character. So I definitely don't want to pump him now, but at that moment,
I get it.
as a 10-year-old boy at that moment in the early 90s, that would have been, like meeting Drake May for like,
I agree.
like my kid meeting Leo. My kid's a soccer player, so him meeting Leo Messi, like it was, and to have missed out on that and to only have this bottle, which was lovely for him to leave. But it was like, well, I have this, but it was one of those like, and maybe now later in life, like we learn why, but at the moment it was like such a crushing thing for me. Yeah. And it was so sweet of him so sweet of Bobby to like swing by the house and ask permission and that stuff. But yeah, that was, that was one of what became, I guess, a lifetime of near misses and disappointments. I don't know, but yeah, it was an interesting day. But I will say I cried about that for a couple of days, which is fine. You get over. Of
course, I mean, like I said, if anybody was watching like this stuff, like I was raised on this stuff, and I used to watch John Van Erich and Kevin Van Erich, and the Undertaker and stuff like that. So that's something that really like leaves something into your heart. Thank you for sharing that, Mike. I really appreciate it. So before I wrap up, please let our listeners know how they can connect with you online and stay updated with your work. And if you want to share anything about the Padaton, about Scott Fishbowl, how they can help donate and stuff like that, please you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So on all the socials, I'm Daddy's Home FF, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, pretty easy to find there. That's where you find all my work. As we talked about, I'm all over the place, a lot more guest spots than regular stuff. So that's where you can find not only what I do, but also what I like, what I find amusing, what I find helpful. So I try to share everything there. FantasyCares.org is a website you should have bookmarked. You should have on speed dial, whatever it is. So much good happens there. You can join FC Eliminators and you can play in leagues against your favorite fantasy analysts and random people like me who run some of those. I think getting involved in so many different ways, going to the live draft, signing up. I will say everyone that went to the Boston live draft that wanted to draft was able to. I mean, you were there. We were pulling people out of the crowd by the end. So there's always the opportunity to get involved. For the Podathon, we do it the weekend before the Fishbowl kicks off every year. It's 24 straight hours of just entertainment, just wonderful people. My favorite people in the industry join. We have so many newcomers every year. I always save spots for people who haven't been on the show before. But if you have interest in people that haven't been on, let me know. I'll get them on the list. But it's great because for me, yeah, we will. Absolutely. We do 24 hours of just my friends coming in on the show, and Sal gets to deal with the chaos of me popping in every so often and talking WNBA with Andy Behrens or, making jokes with, we have such a great group. But overall, I mean, always check it out. Follow everything Fantasy Cares. There's always something going on, and it's truly some of the best people in the industry. So
I love that. Yes, JC is in for the Podathon.
Yeah, hit me up. Let me know. We're always, like I said, we always want to get fresh faces out there, people that have been on before, and it's unscripted. We just have fun. So
I love that. So this is the ending of our podcast tonight. Mike, if you want to stay a little bit after, we can talk. I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Thank you all for joining me for this episode of the Game Changers. I hope today's conversation gave you a fresh perspective, not just on fantasy football, but on the game of life. Tonight's Mike made my jaw hurt. If you didn't listen to the whole episode, go back and listen to it. It's such a fun episode, you guys. Mark your calendar. Dennis Clausen, join me next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Big thank you to JC for his behind the scene magic and to the powerhouse team of TSA for making this platform possible for me. If you enjoy the episode, subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social media. Until next time, keep challenging the game and making your mark. This is Carla with Mike Faiella signing off. I wish you a pleasant evening. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.